Hello friends, welcome. Friends, this is going to be a very important video because today I am going to talk about why people experience quality issues. Why you are not able to receive data signals at the time when you need to use your application. Sometimes the network doesn't come where you say that network is not there, right? But sometimes the network is there still you are not able to use your application, either YouTube or any other application which you are using on your phones, even when the 5G or the 4G icon is visible on your device. So this issue, I think everybody might have encountered many times when they are using their services. Now friends, what I am going to do today is to explain to you in simple terms this complex issue, why you are experiencing this quality issue. So without wasting any further time, let's dive directly into this presentation. And mind you friends, these are technical issues which I am going to simplify. Therefore, even a common man who doesn't have any understanding of this subject will be able to understand. So if you watch to the end, you will understand that why you are experiencing all these issues in our Indian telecom service providers network. Okay. So before I dive into the details as to why you are experiencing these issues, it is important for me to give you a understanding of some of the important network concept without which you will not be able to appreciate what I'm going to tell you, as we move forward in this presentation. The first is, what is the basic RF network concept? Now, I'm not going to talk about physics here, right? I'm not going to tell you that how a mobile communicates to the base station. What I'm going to say is simple. One important thing is that there are two different types of coverage. What are those two different types of coverage? One is called download, another is called upload. Both have different coverage, right, from the base station because of the following reason. See, when you are downloading data, right, from your network, you are receiving the data from the tower or the base station which is located at some point in the network. Now this base station has got a capability to transmit power at a certain level, and that is governed by certain regulatory requirements and the capability of the base station because it is actively powered by a power source. So you can transmit at a higher power, right, compared to what you can do in case of a mobile, which is a very small device which doesn't have an active power source, and it is only powered by a battery. And then there are certain regulatory requirements which prevents a certain power levels to exceed. For example, you can't go beyond 23 dBm. dBm is a unit of power. So what happens is that when you are trying to reach the base station using a mobile, your capability to reach the base station shrinks because the power capability, the power transmission capability of the mobile handset is quite restricted compared to a base station. Therefore, the coverage that you see, right, when you are communicating to the base station is going to be of a lower area. This is the area that you see, compared to when a base station is communicating to the mobile. So this is a very important distinction that you need to understand. Therefore, whenever you talk about a coverage, mainly the coverage is determined by the mobile's ability to transmit back to the base station. Because if the mobile is not able to talk to the base station, even if you are receiving from the base station some signals on your mobile, it is of no use because you are not going to give any feedback. It is going to be unidirectional and it becomes typically a broadcast network. It is not going to be a bidirectional mobile network. That is one concept I think you have understood. So the summary of this slide is that uplink and downlink RF links have different coverage. As simple as that, anybody can understand this because of two different power capabilities, right, given by different regulatory as well as the physical constraint in which both these entities have to deal with. Second is the concept of carrier aggregation. Now, what is carrier aggregation? Carrier aggregation is a very simple concept. What happens is that when you are transmitting signal, you use a frequency band. Now, these frequency band have got certain width, means it is called bandwidth. So this is the width of a frequency. Let's say if this is 3500 megahertz band, there is a width, right, of this frequency band, means you can't really have unlimited quantum of spectrum. The spectrum is limited by what is given to you by the regulator, or you have won through an auction. Similarly, there is another spectrum band called 1800 megahertz spectrum band, which is in a different frequency block in the RF spectrum, which also has got certain width. Now, ideally, these two bands are separated by a huge guard band, right? And this is the guard band that you see in between. Now, what happens is that if you do not have an handset with a carrier aggregation capability, then you are independently locked into these two bands depending upon whether you are in the coverage range of these two bands or not. Now, higher the frequency, lower is going to be the coverage. The lower the frequency, higher is going to be the coverage. That is another concept. Right? I don't want to get into the reason why it is like that, but you have to understand that if you are at a low frequency, then the signals travel farther than the base station, but the uplink and downlink are going to be as different as I have already explained to you the reason why. But only thing is that proportionately the coverage will stretch compared to what you see in 3500 MHz band and 1800 MHz band. Now, if you are locked into the 1800 MHz band, then your ability to use data depends upon the width of the 1800 MHz band alone. That's all. If it is 10 MHz band, then your throughput or the data pipe is limited by that. Now consider this as a water pipe, and you as a user of water in your house. Now let's say that nobody else is tapping from this pipe. If this is a large water pipe, you have the full connection and you have the liberty of tapping all water from this pipe. Let's assume that. Then what happens is that the maximum throughput or the maximum bandwidth or the data speed that you are going to get is going to be limited by the width of this pipe. It can't go beyond that. Similarly, if you are locked onto this pipe, then the width of the signal, the capacity of the pipe will be dependent upon the width of this 3500 MHz band. Let's say if it's 100 MHz, this is 10 MHz, then you are going to get a 10 MHz watt capacity. Here you are going to get 100 MHz watt capacity. Now, what if I tell you that there is a possibility and there is a way you can aggregate these two pipes together at the physical layer, which is the radio frequency layer, as if that you are both this pipe are linked with each other. So this guard band that you see vanishes. So how you do that? You do it through a mechanism called carrier aggregation, which is aggregation at the physical layer. So if you do that, then what happens is that both the pipes are seen as if that they are one. So your ability to drop water, if you are only user in that particular pipe, will get increased significantly depending upon both the pipes width combined with each other. So this is the concept called carrier aggregation. So this is without carrier aggregation, here individual pipes, and this is with carrier aggregation, both the pipes together. Now comes to the next concept, which is called non-standalone 5G network. So what is non-standalone and what is standalone 5G network? Let's understand this. In case of non-standalone 5G network, you have got two different frequency. Let's understand there are two different frequency blocks. One is at 3500 MHz band, another is at 1800 MHz band. Now the 3500 MHz band has been powered by 5G RF layer, which has got a different frame structure. And 1800 MHz has been powered by 4G LTE network, which has got a different frame structure compared to 5G, right? Both the frames are incompatible with each other. Now, what happens in case of a non-standalone 5G network is that what they do is that they again combine these two blocks together, but not at the physical layer, but at the data layer. So, when you are experiencing 5G, right, what you have to do? You have to first lock on to the 4G layer as a primary connection. Even if 5G is present there, without 4G, the non-standalone network is not going to work. So you have to lock on to the 4G network first, and then the 5G layer is added as a secondary connection on top of it. Now the combination of 5G and 4G happens at the data layer, not at the RF layer. So whatever you see on your handset, let's say if you have access to the 3500 MHz band, let's say if you are at the coverage area of the 3500 MHz band, and in that area you definitely will have the coverage area of the 1800 MHz band, then your download is going to come from the 3500 MHz band, right? Because it has got a larger width, and upload can happen on the 1800 MHz band because this may be of a smaller width, right? So you get a higher download speed and you get a lower upload speed, depending upon how the network configures itself with each other. You can do the upload and download also in the 3500 MHz band, but it depends upon how the carrier or the network operator has configured that. So that is called non-standalone 5G network. In case of standalone 5G network, it functions as if it is a 4G or a 5G network. both networks are independent of each other. There is no way 4G and 5G are combined together logically in the handset. That's the difference. So there are two independent networks. One is the 5G SA network, right? And 5G non-standalone network, both may function together, or it may happen that 5G SA will function independently and 4G will function independently as if they're the two part of the network, right? So this is the concept about 5G non-standalone. Now let's understand why the coverage is, you are not getting the kind of coverage requirement that you have, and why the handset displays 5G icon even when you are not able to get any data downloads, or you are not able to upload data in your network. Okay, so this is a typical non 5G standalone network, right? Sorry, 5G standalone, 5G non-standalone network. So this is the diagram. Now in this, what I have done, I have already explained to you that both RF, let's say there are two different bands, 3.5 and 1800 megahertz band, both have different coverage for uplink and downlink, which I've already showed you. You have understood the concept. So this is the area which is basically shown by a bold line, non-dotted line, is for the downlink, and this is for the dotted line is for the uplink for the 1800 megahertz band. Similarly, the violet part, the 3.5 has got similar, downlink here. This is the downlink, and the dotted line is the uplink. Now let's consider the following scenario. We have got handset in four different scenarios. Scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, scenario 4. Four different scenarios, the handsets are there. In the scenario 1, you can see that the handset is at the edge of the 1800 megahertz band network. It is lying on the edge here. You see that? So what is happening? Suppose, let's say, if you are at the edge of the network where you do not get the 5G 3500 megahertz RF signal, neither the download nor the upload, because you are out of the coverage, because this network has got a smaller radius for both upload and download. So you are at the edge of the network. So what will happen is that you will be receiving signal from the base station. The base station will be able to communicate to the mobile, but the mobile will not be able to communicate back to the base station. So it may happen that you are right at the edge of the network and the mobile is trying to communicate back to the base station. It is not able to communicate back to the base station. So it is kind of hung in you can say a stalemate situation. So here you may see a 4G icon in the device, but you will not be able to do neither download nor upload, because you are not able to get feedback to the tower. The tower is not able to receive any feedback because the signals are not reaching the tower, right? So here, what will happen? The handset is unable to communicate with the base station, but can hear the BTS on 1800 megahertz band, but can't send signal. So this way you can see the icon, but you are not able to do neither upload or not download any kind of data into the network or from the network. Now here is the another case. The another case is you can see that the network is lying at the edge of the upload network of 1800 megahertz band, because it is on the dotted line. Now here what will happen is that you will be able to receive download because it is much inside the download part of the area of the network, but you are right at the edge of the network. So what happens is that you will be able to get a very good download speed, but your uploads are not going to be that much. It is going to be very thin. So your experience of video calls, everything is going to become pretty bad because of this, right? Then comes the scenario 3. Here what you see, you are right at the edge of the download part of the 3500 megahertz network. You can see that the network, you can just see that is the bold line here. And you are not able to upload using the 5G icon. So what will happen is that here you will be able to receive a very large download, but you will not be able to do a very large upload. Because why? Because you will not able to get this pipe. This pipe is not there, so you have to use the 1800 megahertz band to upload, and you will be using the 3500 megahertz band to download. So your experience of upload and download are going to be asymmetrical in nature, and that is typically what you notice all the time, because 3500 is where you have deployed 5G and their coverage is pretty bad. It does not travel inside. And that is why sometimes you see 5G icon, very high download speed, but you are not able to communicate back to the network with that kind of ability, because the 1800 megahertz band 4G may have been very congested, because there are other users which are using 4G, and therefore your capability to continue, communicate back to the base station will be compromised, the congestion on the 4G network. And then we have the final 4, where you are very near to the base station, you are very, very close to the base station, and therefore you will be able to receive very good speed upload as well as download, right? So this is the typical situation where you have got different network scenarios, and therefore different positions in the network will lead to different experiences. So it all depends upon how you are positioned inside the network. That is how your coverage and your quality of experience is going to depend upon that. Now comes the last part of our slide, which is called typical standalone network. So what is standalone network? Let me just take my What is standalone network, which I've already explained to you. Standalone network is both the networks, the 4G as well as 5G, will function independently as if they are not connected with each other, right? So there is an independent 5G core, there is an independent 4G core, and both the networks are independent of each other. Now here also you will find quality issues. Why? Because of the carrier aggregation concept, which I have explained to you. Now here you will see that there are two different bands. One is 700 megahertz, another is 3.5 megahertz. This is a typical Reliance configuration network. Now in 3.5 you have deployed 5G, and 700 also you have deployed 5G. Now let's say if you are having a handset without CA, without carrier aggregation capability, then what happens is that if you are, let's say, in somewhere in between here, right, in the network, where you are able to see the 3500 megahertz band, but you are still locked into the 700 megahertz band, it may happen that you can be either in 3500 or you can be in 700. Means here 3500 or in 700, not in both together, because your network, your handset does not have the CA capability. So if 700 megahertz band is highly congested, then you will get a very poor 5G experience, because you do not have the benefit of the 3500 megahertz band, where the coverage of the 3500 megahertz band is typically very poor compared to the coverage of the 700 megahertz band. And the 700 megahertz band, only 10 megahertz Reliance has, so its capacity will get constrained over a period of time, and your 5G quality is going to get screwed up completely. Now if you have a carrier aggregation capability, then there is a different issue. Then you can basically see these two bands logically combined with each other, and therefore depending upon whether you are at the edge of the network or in the slightly within the 3500 megahertz band, or let's say little away from it, you will at least get the download, because the download, as I told you, has got a different coverage. The download has got a different coverage capability compared to upload. So you will be able to use the 3500 megahertz band to download signals, and you can use the 700 megahertz band to upload. So your upload is going to be a little bad, but your download is going to be typically very good. So if you are right here, let's say here you are, let's say if you are here, then your experience is going to be very, very good, because now you are at 3500 megahertz spectrum band, both upload and download coverage area, both you can get, and your upload and download can both happen in 3500, which has got a very large quantum of spectrum. So therefore sometimes you get very, very good speed of 5G, both upload and download. That is the reason why. Now friends, how can you improve the network, right? So for improvement, you need two things. One is that you need handsets which are capable of CA, carrier aggregation capability. You cannot just do it without CA, because problem with our network is that our band sizes are pretty limited. In 700 megahertz band, we are limited with only 10 megahertz of spectrum, right? And there is no way Reliance can get 20 megahertz spectrum, because all the 700 megahertz band has been used up by other government agencies. So since you are limited with only 700 and you have no other way to expand your 700 megahertz band, then only way you can expand your coverage is by adding in 1800 megahertz layer on top of it. Now 1800 megahertz is going to be better than 3.5 on a coverage point of view, both uplink and downlink. So what will happen is that if you are in somewhere in between, let's say here, you will get the 1800 megahertz band, which has got a larger block size, let's say of 20 megahertz. Then what happens is that what you are supposed to do in 3.5, you will be able to do it in 1800 megahertz band, even if you are not at the coverage area of the 3.5 gigahertz band. That way, you can see both 700 and 1800 megahertz band together. So you can basically use, if you are right at the edge of the network where you can get both upload and download in 1800, then you can do both upload and download in the 20 megahertz band of 1800, and you don't need the 700 megahertz band, which can get very congested because of handsets which are locked into this band because of non-CA capability. They don't have CA capability. So that is why you can improve the quality of the network. So as Reliance progresses their network towards incorporating 1800 megahertz band, and if you start having handset with CA capabilities, then you will start seeing improved quality in your network, because the networks are going to become better both from the both sides, on the BTS side as well as from the handset side, because of the reasons which I have explained. So Bharti also needs lower frequency band. That's why the lower frequency band and the mid frequency bands are pretty important. Now Bharti, the problem is that the 900 megahertz spectrum band has got very poor capacity. It doesn't have capacity. Reliance at least has 10 megahertz. In Bharti, in most of the circles, the 900 megahertz doesn't have that much of a capacity. So they have to continue to depend upon 1800 megahertz band, and therefore they will find deployment of standalone networks pretty challenging as far as handsets are concerned. So they will continue to do non-standalone for a long period of time, till the time they will be able to resolve this low frequency band problem. And as the consumers migrate to handset with CA, then 5G standalone, right, with 1800 and in the low frequency band, either 900, 600 or 700, is going to become a very compelling service which the consumer will start using, and you will be able to see improved performance of 5G. So friends, I hope that you probably have understood why there is a problem in 5G network, what kind of resolution that are required to be done in the network. Then only you will be able to see better performance. Today you are not able to see better performance because the network has been deployed in a half-hearted manner. It is not fully done. Though we can say that we have done our 5G, it is not done in a fully, and the handsets have got limited capability because most of the handset may be without CA capability. That is why you are not able to get better quality and coverage in your 5G network. Hope I have make my the concept is understood, and I will come back with a new video. And thanks for listening, and I will come back with a new video next time. Thank you very much.